So unless like Bro like took him out of her kitchen and put him in her room, which I didn't go into her room this morning.
Oh, look, we are live. Good day, everybody. This is Paul Romero with the Sell a House Wholesale Real Estate Investing series number 160 here on Friday, Freedom Friday, September 4th, 2015. And I want to say welcome all to the Hangout. Glad you could be here. And, you know, we ended the last, we do two Hangouts, John and I, because we have two businesses, real estate and network marketing. And I just want to throw out there that, you know, network marketing is another way, because we always talk about how real estate, getting into wholesale real estate, is probably one of the best ways for somebody to get started into, you know, an opportunity with little or no cash to, you know, make a difference and a change in your life. And probably one of the other best opportunities available for these same types of people, you know, who don't have, you know, lottery winnings or a rich uncle or whatever, you know, people with very little money or time or experience in anything to get started in something to take those same steps towards a new life is network marketing. But you know, we do this other hangout, so we left off on this other hangout with the thought of New Op Day coming up, which for you guys who don't know what New Op Day is, that's the day that falls between Sunday and Tuesday, is a holiday next session. And we were just discussing how, you know, most people are excited that they don't have to go to work come New Op Day because it's a holiday, and how we're kind of bummed out and discouraged that we sort of can't conduct business on a Monday because everybody's off and we can't get anything done. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there, an interesting thought, a different way of looking at things. And it looks like we have Angelique joining us this morning here, and I want to say hello to Angelique, and good morning, John.
Good morning.
Good morning, Paul. Yeah, well, it's good to see someone new join us here. I don't know that Angelique's participated before in one of our Hangouts, but basically what we do here is Paul and I, 3 days a week on New Op Day, Wednesdays and Fridays, we host these Hangouts. On New Op Day, we talk about, on this specific Hangout, the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, because, and as our participants and people who join us regularly know, Paul and I are in this wholesale real estate business. Our main function really is to help and reach out to people with unwanted properties, real estate that's created an issue or a problem in their life. And in order to reach out to these people and to work with them, you got to develop and have really good people skills. And it's not just about, well, it really is about selling, but it's also about connection, making people feel comfortable with you. So the last several weeks, we've been discussing that book and giving our viewers tips on how to negotiate, how to work with people and get to the core of their problems, because we're solutions experts when it comes to real estate. We work with people with tax liens, HOA, foreclosures, pre-foreclosures from the bank, vacancies, all sorts of issues and topics, and really at the core of all that is not just the knowledge of real estate, but just the ability to connect and work with people. And then on our Wednesday Hangouts, we kind of just talk about anything that's really on our minds. On Wednesday this week, Paul and I were discussing how to utilize options in real estate and kind of letting people know about that. That's another topic we might expand about today. And then Freedom Fridays, what we call them here on these Hangouts, really, we just discuss really personal growth, different things that Paul and strategies that Paul and I utilize that has made our businesses better, made our lives better, and made us more productive individuals, not just in our personal lives, but especially in our business lives. And one of our big topics really that we always talk about is business systems. And one thing that, one thought that Paul and I were going through today was basically creating the perfect personal environment for yourself in order to make your work life and your personal life easier. So Paul, if you want to kind of expand on that, take off where we were going with that this morning on our previous hangout, or we can give Angelica a moment to step on here and introduce herself.
Yeah. Hey, Angelique, how you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. I muted my my camera because otherwise it flips through so many, and I just didn't want it to keep flipping. So I'm doing great this morning. I think this is a great topic, primarily because that is something that I do focus on, especially when you work from home, or regardless of really where your environment is. If it's something that creates even more intellectual chaos for you looking around, if you don't have things organized, if you don't have things within view, and it makes it very difficult to stay on task and to stay organized and not forget things. So even though we live in a world where it's, there's a lot of technology and there's a lot of things that can be very helpful in keeping you organized in your computer, many people, there's just a lost connection between having things printed out and in view, and just where you can find them at a glance. So organizing is a really important thing, and I love that topic. Yeah.
Excellent.
That's great. I'm going to steal your term, intellectual chaos. I love that. Actually, I dislike it greatly, but that's sort of what exactly what you want to try to do in a personal space. And what we were talking about on our other hangout was somebody who's even just starting up and wanting to get involved with creating a new business, especially as you say, if you're doing this as a home-based type of a situation. Out of your home right now, you have a life going on, all right? And there's a whole pile of this intellectual chaos that surrounds you and your family and your life and your house and everything about that. And if you're really serious about doing something like this, a great place to get started is to, number one, just create yourself a space. As I said on the other one, hopefully you don't have to, you're not forced to use the bathroom as this is your only, but if you have to, you have to, but create yourself a space where you can have, number one, a little bit of peace and quiet. I mean, and sometimes that's hard to do in, a living, evolving environment that's happening around you right now. But number two, a place where you can really be sort of mentally comfortable. You can sit down in there and you can sort of release your mind from all the thoughts of everyday life, and you can actually focus upon what it is that you're in that room or in that space to do, and that is to be creative and productive, and to create a learning environment where you can start absorbing new material, new information, and actually be able to process things and discern, what's good and bad and right and wrong and positive and negative in this information, and be able to use it, to your advantage to better your life. And because without that, like we talk about here, you can just, if you just try to do this at the kitchen table while mom's making dinner and the kids are screaming in the corner, yeah, it's going to be very difficult. You're going to be distracted, and your growth process is going to be hampered. You're still going to be able to make progress, but with all that distraction going on, how much progress can you really make compared to having a space, a personal space where you have peace and quiet, you can focus, you can be organized, you can have, like Angelique was saying, you can have, know exactly right where you want to go to, pick up your notes from when you were in there the last time or whatever, something like that. So a great thing, if anybody's looking to getting started in something, is to think about that first. Create yourself an environment, a space for learning and growing and being productive.
No doubt. No doubt.
It's funny you mentioned the bathroom, Paul, because when I grew up in a house, I'm one of 5 kids and my parents, so there are 7 of us all living on top of each other in a 1,200 square foot house, and the only room and time that I could find to read a book and get away from everybody is the bathroom. So I used to take 1.5, 2 hour showers and read a book in the shower, just because that's the only place in my house where people would leave me alone so I could focus and concentrate. Luckily, I don't have that problem anymore because I live alone except for my 2 kids, but they've got their own rooms. So But I just want to expand on what you said there because, you know, a lot of people that Paul and I are working with, you're starting out in wholesale real estate. It's a new opportunity for you. It's something that you've never done before. And we work with a lot of people that are coming from a wage earner type mindset who've had, you know, 40-hour-a-week jobs their whole life. And now they have an opportunity because of the low cost of entry, really, into wholesale real estate. It is truly a business that you can get involved with little to no money. But it's important that you have a workspace at home. So, you know, one thing I would suggest to people is, and just to kind of expand on what Angelique and Paul were saying is, you know, you're going to start off, you're not going to have an office that's outside the home. You're going to have to work from home in this business, but you're going to have to, in order to be successful, treat it like a business, which means you need to find a little corner, a little space in your home that you can turn into an office. And, you know, really the only things you need to start your office space to get going in this business is a computer, a cell phone, and a printer. Because it's a communications business, and the awesome thing about the day and age we live in is that, you know, this is a business that can be completely run off of a cell phone and a computer, and then obviously a printer to print out documents and contracts and other things. Yeah, showing a couple of notebooks. But you got to just find a spot in your home where you can set yourself up a little office space so that when you're in there, it's clean, it's organized, it's dedicated strictly to your business, and you can focus when you're there. Cell phone, a computer, and a printer, and some notebooks and some pens. I mean, that's all you really need to get started. And then, of course, just a little organized workspace. And then from there, the sky's the limit.
Right. Yeah, no doubt.
Yep. From there, you can work your way out of the house and into the office. If that's what you want, you know, work your way into a bigger house where you can have a whole dedicated office room. How about that for an idea? So,
well, I think you make a great point there, because that was something that Jeff had mentioned before was, you know, taking your business seriously and treating it like a business. And that's just exactly what you're talking about here, is treating your business like a business and making that space important and making that time important so that you're, I mean, if you're going to invest your time and energy into something, you know, doing it halfway doesn't do you or your clients or your, you know, the service you're providing any justice, really.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't do your bank account any justice either, because if you're doing it halfway, you're going to have halfway results.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. So I agree with you guys 100% on that.
So the other thing that we were talking about now, as far as a personal space, and now this is just getting started here too. You know, I mean, as you're progressing, you know, like we just talked about, growing into the office or growing into, you know, a larger house if need be, so that you can actually have an office space and have some time, or something with a garage that you can move into, or whatever the case might be. You know, as you're doing that, you need to maintain your space, because that's sort of what got us off started on our other hangout. We're talking about was the fact that, you know, John just yesterday, it just happened to be, we both kind of did the same thing on the same day, sort of nesting a little bit, you might call it, but you know, I was out of town for a month and I just got back, and I mean, I threw myself right back into getting caught up with the business and what's going on and all these things, you know, and the stuff that I brought back, you know. I had a scattered about, you know, I mean, I just had stuff strewn all over this place. It was a mess. You walk in, and just walking into a mess like that is debilitating to your productivity. You just, it immediately brings thoughts of all these things, of the, I'm going to steal Angelique's term again here, of the intellectual chaos that just starts to spin around in your head, and all just because of a mess. And even just something like this right here, this little stack that I got to go through, one little stack, that's not too bad, but still one little stack of stuff that I got to go through here, a whole pile of, I don't even know what's in there. I mean, there's going to be good notes in there. There could be phone numbers of people that I need, that I probably should have called last week. There's going to be, you know, maybe a bill I haven't paid, but all this stuff that's in here that I got to get caught up on, that's, you know, that's a distraction. I'm over here trying to work, and that pile's sitting right there, and I know it's got to be done, and I'm trying to work, but I'm constantly thinking about, oh man, what's in there? I got to get to that. And I mean, and how productive can you be when your mind's being pulled away towards the, the minutia of life in that stack of who knows what it is right there. So staying organized, keeping your space neat and clean, and where you know where things are, where you can pull up whatever it is that you need to continue to stay productive, is a huge thing that, once you get going into something, that you want to make sure that you keep as a high priority on your to-do list.
Right.
I think it builds self-confidence as well, because, for me, one of my biggest struggles, and I always talk, obviously my own personal point of view is, I'm extremely busy with Paul and in these businesses that I do. I have very little time for keeping up and cleaning my house. And when you have a kind of a messy house or a messy car, a disorganized desk, it's almost like a weight that's on your shoulders, and it could be something that takes away from your self-confidence, just knowing that there's all these things being unattended in the background of your life, and as you're moving forward with your daily routine and your daily tasks and getting out there, it's almost like a weight. So if you can figure a way out for you to keep more organized and your home clean and your office clean and your car clean, it adds to self-confidence. And, one thing for entrepreneurs or business owners who spend a lot of their time like in their business, and I love my business, and I work probably 60 plus hours a week in and on it because it's just something that I really enjoy. Sometimes it's at the detriment to other areas of my life, meaning my personal environment, my home, this and that. One suggestion I have gotten from a mentor years ago was that this mentor of mine had gotten to the point where she doesn't even clean her own house anymore, prepare her own meals, or service her own cars, where she's got an assistant to kind of handle all those things. So in the last month, I really took a stock and a look at what was going on personally and realized that I'm just not keeping my home maintained. 2 children, a single father, they're with me 60% of the time. It's very difficult for me to constantly keep on top of and clean up after these 2 kids, let alone myself, and have 60 hours a week in my business and get the proper amount of sleep and rest during the week. So I finally, after years of hearing it, took my mentor's advice, and that is I hired an assistant and I hired some maids. So, and like the hugest weight lifted off my shoulders to know that I've got people that come in, twice a month that clean my house. And that, I maintain it, but they do the deep cleaning, things I just haven't been finding time for. And my assistant now, he picks up my vehicle every week. He'll get the oil change, make sure the tires are filled with air, keep the car clean, vacuumed, waxed, all that stuff. Bring me meals and prepare my meals. Also, just run simple errands like going to the grocery store for me. And then, there's some other things entailed there that he helps me out with specifically in my business. And then having the maids come. And it might not sound like a lot, but being able to put those areas of my life on autopilot has actually taken a huge weight off my shoulders, where I really can just focus on my business and working with my clients, because I know that the personal environment is now being taken care of, and it's a huge weight lift, and it's a huge confidence builder, and it's just, I know as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, it's given me the ability to take things to the next level. So if I could offer anybody a bit of advice, it's to begin looking at those areas of life where you have a weakness in, and figuring out a way to stay on top of those things. For a lot of people out there who are working hourly, who are just starting out in their own business, may not have the monetary abilities to go ahead and hire an assistant and hire people to take care of those things, but begin focusing on ways you can make sure those things are taken care of. Because I know from my own personal experience, it's been a huge step forward for me in my personal life, and in like my, really what it matters most is between the ears, and in my personal mind, those weights lifted off. begin to think about those things where you're weak and those things that are kind of holding you back, and begin making lists of those, and figure out what's the most realistic solution for you right now to have those things taken care of, and then a goal or a solution for the future. As I make more money, I can now I can hire someone to take care of this part of my life. I can hire someone to take care of this part of my life, and really put together a plan of action for handling all those areas of your life where your weaknesses are, and find a way to have those things taken care of, and find someone who's strong in those areas to assist you in that. And that's kind of, my thinking on these things that we're talking about.
Well, I can attest to that. 100%. Not on a personal level, because I didn't hire an assistant, but I can attest to that of the results of the past 30 days, in that you putting 8 new deals into escrow.
Yeah, but that's one thing that I've been able to, like I said, and I'm talking from personal experience, like having those weights lifted off and those responsibilities now taken care of, like in the last month where I made this conscious decision. It's been about 6 weeks now. Yeah, I personally put more deals in escrow in the month of August than any month prior to, because I'm finally getting my life organized, and for me it's taken the help of assistants to do so. But that's the point that we're trying to make, is how much more productive can you be in your business as you handle these other things that may seem unrelated, but all these things, your whole life is related to your productivity and output. Your physical well-being, your mental well-being, your spiritual well-being, and your financial well-being. How when you can find balance, which is almost impossible, but when you can find balance and structure and begin to bring in all those elements, how much more productive you can be.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a mom of 3, and I've got we are a family of 5, and so it does require time, energy, and lots of effort, and staying organized, staying on task, multitasking to get laundry done and to get all those things done. So I do all of that myself. And unfortunately, right now we don't have the option to hire a crew to take care of everything that I take care of at this time. But the thought of having those things taken care of would relieve a whole lot of or release a lot of time that I could focus on my business. And that's something we've heard over and over and over again is, if Angelique wasn't busy cooking and cleaning and, all the things that she do, but at the same time, I'm a mom. And so some of it just has to be done. If I have a maid and I have someone coming in to do everything for us, then that does not teach my kids how to do those things and take care of them themselves. And therefore, I'm raising an entitled generation who doesn't feel that they need to do those things. And so some of those things are just lessons that I have to be able to teach my kids so that they can do for themselves, and they appreciate what it is to hire someone and have that relief. But if it's so that they play video games, then not so much right now, right? Unless video games is cutting a check. So some of it is a job that just another business of mine is being a mom, I guess. The pay doesn't come in as monetary dollars and cents, but I think it goes without saying that it's an important job and it's something that I have to do. However, there is a fair amount of I am a strong businesswoman. And when I can only address business 10% of my day because of all the other things that I have going on, it is quite sad to see that, because I could only imagine what my success would be if I didn't have to focus on these types of things. So I agree with you 100%. Having that and being able to just focus on your business would make a significant difference in income.
Absolutely, but you know what? There's some great points I think that you made right there, which is also kind of why I think getting into real estate is such a great thing for people who have to work at a job 40 hours a week. because that limits your time with your family, and it also can be limiting to your success on a personal basis with your own business. But one area I think in society that needs more focus from most people that do work, for somebody else, and Paul, I, and Angelique have the opportunity to be business owners, and it provides us the ability to have time for our families more so than the average person. And I feel there is a lack of time spent focusing on family and raising them right. And you brought up a great point there about being a mom, and I can attest to this as being a father, is that you want to bring your kids up right, but you want to have the time to be able to put into your children as well to kind of teach them lessons. And if you have the ability to be a mom that has a business, and right now you're taking you're saying about 10% of your time to focus on your business.
Right.
But the amazing thing about that is at least it's your business, something that you feel good about that you're focusing on.
Right.
Maybe you can't spend all the time you want to go there, but you do have a family which the business is giving you the ability to focus on as well. And to me, financial is a critically important thing in life, is finances. But time is so important as well. So it's not just about being financially successful, because you know what? If you had, were extremely financially successful but had no time to spend on your physical well-being and your mental well-being, and spend time with your family, and you're devoting all your time, to me, money is important where money is important, but there's things that are just as important as money, and that's like your health, your personal health, and family. So part of all this is putting all this stuff into balance and being able to spend your time where you want to spend your time and doing the things you want to do. And for me, part of the reason I hired the maids and the assistants to do those things is to free up more time so that I can spend quality time with my kids. And also is I want my kids to be able to come home to a clean home, and then in those 2-week time frames when the maids aren't here, is learn how to clean up after yourself and take care of yourself is so critically important too.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about, I guess the point I'm trying to make, it's all about having the time to focus on the things that are important to you. And it sounds to me that Angelique has a lot of things that she wants to focus her time in when it comes with her family, and she does have the ability to focus on those things. And I think that comes from the fact that you are a businesswoman and you are able to maintain your own business from home, so that you can also focus on things within your home. And like being a mom or a dad that takes care of the family, to me that's an important business as well. And it should, and love to hear what your guys' opinion on it is, but like your personal life and taking care of your family should be treated like a business too.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. It's almost like the family life is treated as a business as well too, to a certain extent, in such that is a crossover in the fact that being a businesswoman and having only 10% of your time to devote to that, you have to have that massive organization in order to get anything done in that limited amount of time. So that having that and having that experience and doing that in a physical way of actually applying that to your business, I'm sure that has a crossover into the way that you run the family as well too.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and I'm creating young entrepreneurs. As I learn and I grow, I translate that right on over into something that they're doing. Mom, I need $50. Well, how can you make $50? Because I just made $50, but that doesn't mean it's your $50. So you figure out how you can make $50, and that way you have your own money. I think it is really important. But it is as a side note, when I had kids, I committed to being a mom, and so that's kind of, I think, if I have to pay someone to do something, then it's a job. It's an important job. And if it's not if it's a job that it doesn't matter if I do it or not, then cool, let me hire somebody and let me get them on it. But parenting, that's not really a thing that I'm willing to I guess farm out to another service. So this is probably not the best choice, and but some people have to do it, and it is quite sad. So getting involved in something where you can, you know, you have the freedom to make priorities, and I think that's the piece where a lot of people get lost, is they say, you know, but I can't. Oh, I would if I could, and they don't understand what it takes to get to that place. So having other people, you know, mentors and, you know, people sharing like this, I think is probably important to let other people know that we are out here and we do it. And sometimes it's, you know, there is great risk involved in owning your own business. You are either owning a business that is running and functioning, or you own a job and now everyone has become your boss.
Yeah, exactly. I want to throw a couple things in there, going back to sort of where this all started with Angelique. You mentioned a few things in there that I want to kind of bring to the attention that, you know, we just kind of discussed that, you know, mom sort of is a business. You know, it's not something that, you know, if you have, you know, a motherly instinct that you are willing to farm out. It's something that, you know, you want to have control of and do it the way that you want to have it done. Another thing that you mentioned was the raising an entitled generation, and you know what, that's a huge subject. I mean, we could definitely go off on a whole thing about that, but you know, over the years, it's funny because, I mean, it's a paternal instinct for parents to just want to make things better for their children to have, you know, a better life than they have, and for their children not to have to struggle as they struggled. But is that really a good thing? You know,
right.
I mean, children need to, you know, in order to, I feel, in order to be, you know, a strong-willed person, you need to come from, you know, somewhat of a place of struggle. You need to be able, you need to have those experiences of making things happen on your own, of standing on your own 2 feet and getting things done. People that just have stuff handed to them all their life, they don't know how to do that when they get out in the real world, and they're lost. You know, so I mean, that's a tough kind of you know, thing right there. You know, we want to make things easy for our kids, but then on the other hand, you know, if we do, we know that if we do, you know, what are we setting them up for in the future? And that's a whole other thing we could kind of go off on as well too. And one of the things that you had talked about, Angelique, was not wanting to sort of farm out all these motherly things and have your kids, you know, basically sort of be in that position where they see that, you know, hey, well, you know, mom never cleaned house, why should I have to clean house, right? But I think you're probably in a position, I don't know what age your kids are right now, but you're probably in a position right now where your children, seeing that you are the mom, that you do run the house, that you are the person that takes care of all these things, and at this point in your life, now being able to show them the conversion, you know, how you could evolve from being that full-time work-a-day mom to a point where, you know what, hey, listen, because of my entrepreneurial efforts and the work that I'm doing that started out as only 10%, I'm now able to bring somebody in here, even if it's just once a week, to do a major cleaning on the house, that I don't have to do that frees up 2 hours of my week that I can apply back towards my business and expand upon that. And having your children see you evolve through a growth pattern like that is just as huge of a life lesson as you being the actual hands-on doer.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. The flip side to that is they are my hired help. And
yes.
Yeah.
I think that's important too,
right.
Because yes.
Yeah, but you know, teaching them how to effectively clean a bathroom, it takes time and investment, and it takes probably 10 times the amount of time it would take me. So where I want to go, okay, this is taking way too much of my time. I don't have time to do this. I have to make time to do it, or they'll never learn. And it's so convenient for people to go, let me just do it because it takes less time for me to do it. But then you never effectively train and train leaders. train trainers. If so, you effectively train someone else, then they can effectively train someone else. And so that's where you get 15 years old, 12 years old, and 10 years old. You teach the 15-year-old, and then you go, now teach your brother.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you don't have to teach it.
And then you go watch it.
Right, you don't have to teach it 3 times. And so that's, you know, I am just pretty, these are all new experiences for me. So really being a parent is constantly, it is like a business where you're constantly up against, you know, problems that need solutions, and being a problem solver all the time, and there's new things and things that the variables change all the time. But what I will say about this, whether it's your personal space, because that's something that I teach them as well, right? Mm-hmm. Not just taking pride in your personal space, but that how it translates into everything else that you're doing, because if you don't stay organized, then it starts to throw everything else off kilter. You know, being a parent, and how that's helped me in my business is understanding that everybody does things differently. Even the people that you work with on a daily basis, we tend to speak to people, train people, and have expectations of people based off of what our own experiences are, and not the type of people that we're dealing with. So it's really taught me to try to better understand who it is that I'm doing business with, or who it is in my house, right? And what those personality types are, so that I understand what the best way to effectively communicate with those people are. You were mentioning the entitled generation and how they have to come from a place of struggle. I think that's true for the majority of people, where they need to fall a little bit, even though when they think they know everything and they can do everything, and you go, okay, go do it then. And when they fall and they come back, and then you say, okay, now are you ready to learn my way? Doesn't have to be I told you so. It just has to be a gentle, all right, did you fall hard enough? Do you need to go back and fall again? Let me know when you're ready. I have one child who makes his bed every day. If you walked in his room, you'd have thought that we were showing the house today. Every single day, his room is spotless, dusted. You thought he went to boot camp. He just came out of the military, this kid. And the reason why he does that is because he does not want to hear my mouth. He doesn't want to have anybody have anything to say to him. He wants the freedom to do what he wants to do when he wants to do it. And so he is willing to do all the things. Give me a checklist. I will do everything so that I don't have to have this conversation ever again. The other two, the oldest and the youngest, exactly the same. They struggle to make their bed. You didn't tell me to make my bed. Oh, I didn't know I had to make it every day. Why do I have to make my bed when I'm just going to mess it up again tonight? And, you know, it's the logic behind a lot of that doesn't make sense to them. And when I'm going, well, look at your brother, you know, he figured out real early on that if he just does what his job, he has the freedom to do these other things.
And look in the afternoon when you're in there and I'm ragging on you in the afternoon, and you're in there making your bed and cleaning up your room, and he's out doing whatever it is that he wanted to do.
Yeah, exactly. So where they're going, why does Jalen get to watch TV, and why do we have to do all these things? And it's like, well, I'm not going to make Jalen do all of your chores because you're not prepared and with this part of your chores to get to these parts. So there's just a lot of time invested in that. But running a business and having employees, or having people that are working for you, you know, it can be very, very much the same. And I found myself, you know, where I've had people working for me or working with people, quickly becoming the mom, you know.
Yeah, well, you know, learning, knowing your people and understanding who they are is a big part of, you know, building business success. I mean, you can't just hire people and stick them into a job and turn your back on them and let them do their job. I mean, if you really want to be successful with people, if you really want to have people, you know, do a good job for you, you need to, you know, you need to be the type of person who, you know, takes the time to understand and learn who that person is and what they're all about. And then, you know, maybe you stuck them in the wrong job, and once you find out what they're all about, you realize that, you know what, they're going to be better doing this than that, and then all of a sudden now they're happier and they're doing a better job for you. So I mean, that's, you know, knowing people, as you said, is a huge thing. But you know, we're running over time here, so if you got a last minute comment, and then I'll get us out of here.
You know what, I think what having Angelique part of this hangout today has really brought a very interesting and important spin or take on the topics that we were talking about, so I really enjoyed that. You know what? My final thought for the day, really, the whole summation of what we're talking about here is figure out a way to just kind of take care of business in your life. And I'm not just talking about your finances, but all those areas of your life that need attention, those weights that weigh down on you, and figure out what your process is going to be for eliminating all that stuff and organizing your life and taking care of your personal business, like the cleanliness of your home and your vehicles, so that you can have your mind freed for other endeavors. And that's kind of my thought for today. So yeah, go ahead, Paul, and unless Angelique's got a final thought, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah, final thought, Angelique?
No, I appreciate what you guys, the topic that you've brought up. So I guess my final thought is this is something that's constantly on my mind because I hate cleaning and I'd much rather be making money. So, I think you're absolutely right in making that a priority. There is just another perspective to that equation when there are other factors involved. And so, there is just another way of looking at that, even though it seems like the easy thing to do would be to hire somebody. Sometimes there isn't that option. So I appreciate it because I'll use any excuse to get out of cleaning my house and be making money.
One other little addition to the hiring of somebody too, with the children right there, you were talking about the fact that okay, they're your hired help and whatnot, right, and they're getting the stuff done, and if you bring somebody in, then they just have free time to watch TV. But now here's a whole other lesson too, is now, okay, hey, listen, I brought this person in here and they're going to actually now do this piece that you were doing, so that's going to free up for me 2 hours of my week. It's also going to free up 2 hours of your week. That's not to be time spent in front of the television or on the video games. We're going to come up with productive time for you during those 2 hours as well, that I'm having productive time as well too. So there's a whole other lesson there too. But anyway, with that, we could go off on a whole other subject with that too. But but anyway, universe. I ask not for more riches, but for more wisdom with which to make better use of the riches given to me at birth, consisting of the power to control and direct my own mind to whatever end I might desire. Angelique, I want to thank you very much for joining us here today. John, I think this was a great topic. I hope everybody got some very good use out of this and some good ideas. And we'll be back here on the holiday, New Op Day, Labor Day, because we can't work. You guys don't have to work. So, but we'll be here, same bat time, same bat channel. Everybody have a great Pinnacle.
You too.